Before we get into the video really quickly, I've just realized that the gameplay doesn't have any audio. Unfortunately, all of my audio settings in my recording software for some reason got reset and there's no gameplay audio, but I also did not want to go back and wait for 2 hours to find another Hazard Zone match. So unfortunately, we're left with just the background music and me talking. Sorry about that. It'll be fixed in the future, and let's get into the video. So with all the hype around both the new update for Tarkov and the DMZ mode of Warzone 2, I wanted to spend a bit of time here revisiting Hazard Zone over a year after the launch of the game. Obviously, this isn't going to be any kind of recommendation for the mode. The only reason you're seeing the gameplay in front of you right now is because it was the only match that I could get within an hour and a half or so of searching. But playing it got me thinking about some of the potential this mode had, and even though development has stopped on Hazard Zone at this point, I actually think there's some low effort changes that can make the mode much more enticing to players. One of the biggest criticisms Hazard Zone had from launch is that there's no real motivation to play it. You use dark market credits to buy parts of your loadout, like your customized weapons, your preferred throwables and gadgets, and some boosts like higher data drive capacity or spawning in with extra ammo. In the game, you earn more dark market credits by extracting with data drives, which you can then only use in the same manner I described before. This obviously just creates a really odd loop that doesn't feel like it's worth the effort. So to me, there's an incredibly easy way to fix this. Allow the use of dark market credits to unlock things in game. I can see this playing out a couple of ways. One would be to have a currency exchange of credits for battlefield coins, which is the existing in-game currency used to buy skins and bundles in the store. Obviously, DICE would need to figure out the exchange rate, but this right here immediately creates a motivation to play the mode and alleviates one of the major frustrations with microtransactions, that being the only method to obtain these cosmetics is through real money. With a currency exchange, more frugal players can grind out the Hazard Zone mode and their efforts can be used toward unlocking their favorite cosmetics. Alternatively, if DICE just doesn't want to go through the trouble of implementing a separate screen that only exists to convert currency, then cosmetics can just have their dark market price right there on the bundle screen next to the battlefield coin price. Obviously, there would still need to be some discussion on the developer side on what everything should cost, but that would just remove the tedious middleman of converting credits to coins. This would also give the flexibility for DICE to limit dark market credit cosmetic purchases to more common rarities if they'd like, with epic and legendary cosmetics still being limited to coins only if they prefer. Personally, I'd love to see everything unlockable through dark market credits only in this scenario, even if the grind is really daunting. Next, I'd like to see the max players increase slightly, especially on the larger maps. 32 can be a bit sparse, and it's easy to go the entire match with no encounters with other players, especially if you extract on the first extraction. Maybe a dynamic max count based on map size, with larger maps having something like 40 players and smaller maps being the regular 32. This would just reduce a lot of the idle running around. And in the spirit of reducing time spent running around doing nothing, another suggestion would be to give players more to do on the map. Though this is now straying more into larger effort, more comprehensive changes to the mode. To keep it simple though, I don't think DICE would need to add factions and characters with crazy missions like we see in other extraction shooters. In the screen where you're selecting your loadout, just also have a list of tasks that can be completed while on the map. These tasks can be limited to things that are already in 2042. They don't even need to be tasks that you have to select tediously, they can just always be available when you load into the map. Add some MCOMs to the map and create a task that requires a squad to arm and defend an MCOM. Much like Warzone's DMZ mode, these areas can have a lot of occupying forces around them, with more being brought in when the squad successfully arms the MCOM in an effort to defuse it. There could even be a player incentive for enemy squads to interfere and disarm the MCOM, like additional credits. Arming, disarming, and detonation times could be fairly long to make this a bit more of a fight. There could also be some form of area capture, not unlike breakthrough or conquest objective capture. Maybe a point of interest on the map has 3 small domination style capture points that the squad needs to control, and these would be heavily guarded by occupying forces as well. In order to complete this task, the squad would need to control all 3 points simultaneously and eliminate all occupying forces in the point of interest. Occupying forces would also make an effort to recapture points. Like the MCOMs, the time to capture could be a bit longer to make this more difficult, and this would be visible to all squads on the map to promote a bit of fighting. In an effort to reduce too much extra work on DICE's part, I envision a lot of this stuff being incentivized by credits so that DICE wouldn't have to implement an inventory system like a typical extraction shooter. This way, instead of extracting with a gun you'd like to keep, maybe you can unlock guns early with high amounts of credits, with a similar system in place for unlocking attachments. This gives more motivation to play the mode, even if it's just to unlock weapons and attachments rather than going through the normal grind of ranking up and getting kills. Additionally, instead of buying a gun every match, you should just be able to buy it once and use it until you've been wiped in the match. Data drives can obviously still exist as a very high value objective that players extract with, complete with a lot of credits. In order to make this a bit more difficult, maybe make opening the pods a bit longer to create more of a risk-reward dynamic. A lot of this would also come with adjustments to how many credits are earned and what the prices of things are when buying your loadout in the pregame. So obviously not exactly low effort as in something that can be done in a week or two, but lower effort than starting a new extraction mode from scratch. Part of the reason I'm making this video is that when I can get a match, I actually kind of like the mode. It's really fun and adds a more tense, high stakes element that is typically not featured in Battlefield's leaning for fast-paced, high chaos action. It's a mode where the specialists actually make a lot of sense. With each squad not allowed to have duplicate specialists, there's a lot more choice and strategy in who you pick. I don't expect any of these changes to ever be made to the mode. DICE is pretty committed right now to improving the all-out war experience, and I understand that. It's where most players are and what most of the audience wants from a Battlefield game. But maybe during the year 2 support for 2042, we could have some time revisiting Hazard Zone and rounding out the experience. It's interesting to think about what could have been here, especially if just a little bit more time went into the extra mechanics for the mode, and if Hazard Zone could be played as a free-to-play experience, kind of like Warzone is to Call of Duty's traditional multiplayer. At the very least, maybe we can have the mode released to Portal, and the community can do something with it. But it seems like Hazard Zone is something DICE is more than happy to leave behind for good. Have you tried Hazard Zone at all lately? What do you think of the mode? Do you think it had any potential at all, or was it always just an unnecessary component of 2042? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. With that, leave a like or a dislike. Happy New Year, and I'll see you all in the next video.